The galaxy had always spoken about humans, not as gods, not as monsters, but as unpredictable, stubborn, and impossible to ignore. Across the stars, in every council and trading hub, aliens whispered stories of human courage and ingenuity. Some stories were simple, how a single human scientist invented a tool that saved an entire colony. Others were grander, how small groups of humans survived attacks that destroyed entire armies of far larger species. Yet, most aliens dismissed these stories as exaggerations. They thought humans were lucky or perhaps clever, but never a real threat. That is, until intelligence reports started mentioning something new, a human special forces program. No alien had ever faced humans trained for war in the way these new squads were trained. Reports spoke of humans moving like shadows, striking with precision and vanishing without a trace. Fleet commanders across the galaxy began to worry. They did not yet know the full extent of human abilities, but fear is never patient. On the remote frontier planet of Alaran 7, the first signs of this new human force began to appear. The planet was rugged, covered with jagged mountains and dense forests that stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Aliens had ignored it for decades, thinking it was insignificant. That was a mistake. Lieutenant Mirasol walked through a training field early one morning, her boots crunching against the coarse gravel. The sun had barely risen, painting the sky with pink and orange streaks. Around her, the Special Forces trainees moved in perfect harmony, each executing maneuvers that would seem impossible to outsiders. Again, Mira said, her voice calm but firm. Precision, focus, and timing. We don't get lucky. We get results. Her squad, a mix of men and women from various human colonies, repeated the drill. They climbed walls, navigated obstacle courses, and coordinated their movements as if they were one mind. Each action was deliberate, practiced, and efficient. Mira watched them carefully. To an alien observer, this might have looked like chaos, but to her, it was art. Far above Alaran 7, in the sleek bridge of an alien scout ship, Commander Arik Kale stared at the holographic display. A human Special Forces squad had been detected on the planet's surface. Only a few dozen humans, but their activity patterns were strange. They moved in small groups, never the same way twice, always adapting. Do you see this? Kyle said to his second-in-command, a tall, silver-skinned alien with glowing blue eyes. A squad this small should be invisible. Yet they are active, efficient, and organized. How? The second-in-command shook its head. They are human, Commander. They are unpredictable. Even our scanners cannot fully read them, Kyle frowned. He had commanded fleets, fought wars, and seen countless species with advanced technology. Yet something about these humans made him uneasy. Something that could not be measured by sensors or statistics. Back on the ground, Mira's squad completed their final drill. She gathered her team. Remember, she said, we are the first line. Out there in the galaxy, no one knows exactly what we can do. That is our advantage. Every step we take, every choice we make is a statement. Humans are not to be underestimated. As night fell over Alaran 7, the humans gathered around small fires, sharing stories of past missions and victories. Their laughter echoed into the dark forests. To them, this was routine, another day of preparation. But across the galaxy, far above in the stars, every recorded movement, every scanned frequency was being analyzed by anxious alien leaders. Rumors began to spread faster than light. In trade hubs, in council chambers, aliens whispered to each other about the humans on Alaran 7. They are more capable than we thought. They are not just survivors, they are warriors. And now they have special forces. For Mira and her team, this was just the beginning. No one yet knew how far their influence would reach or how many battles they would shape. But the humans had one advantage that no alien species had ever fully understood. Courage combined with creativity. Strategy combined with unpredictability. In the dark void of space, aliens prepared quietly. Fleets were repositioned, weapons recalibrated, and spies sent to observe. Every species knew that a new human force had appeared, and every species wondered the same thing. How dangerous could a handful of humans really be? The answer, as everyone would soon learn, was very dangerous indeed. And so the whisper of humanity began to grow louder, a whisper that would echo across galaxies, reaching ears that had once laughed at human tales. This was the start of a story that no alien would forget. a story of human ingenuity, bravery, and the power of the unexpected. For the humans of Alaron 7, it was just another day of training. But in the galaxy beyond, a storm was quietly brewing, and it had the shape of a human soldier. The silence of space is deceiving. Between the stars, fleets move, scan, and wait. On the outer edge of the Alaron sector, a small alien scouting team drifted toward the planet's surface. They believed the humans below were unarmed settlers, harmless in their isolated colony. They had no idea what waited for them. Lieutenant Mira Sol crouched atop a ridge overlooking a narrow canyon. Her Special Forces squad, barely 20 in number, moved like shadows among the rocks and trees. They observed the alien ships through long-range scanners, noting patterns in their movements. Mira's sharp eyes missed nothing. "Remember," she whispered to her team, "speed, precision, and silence. One wrong move and the advantage is gone." The aliens landed in a clearing. Their forms were tall, metallic, with smooth silver exoskeletons that glinted in the sunlight. They carried weapons that hummed with energy, designed to overwhelm most species. They assumed that humans were unprepared, weak, and uncoordinated. They were wrong. Mira signaled with a hand, and her squad split into smaller groups, taking positions along the canyon's edges. Each member moved with trained ease, blending into the terrain. When the aliens began to approach the human settlement, they triggered the first traps, minor obstacles, carefully placed noisemakers, designed to mislead and confuse. The aliens paused, scanning. "Strange readings," one of them muttered in their melodic, metallic language. "Humans should be visible. Where are they?" Mira smiled slightly. Her squad waited, invisible among the shadows, calculating each step. Then, with precise timing, the humans struck. Small energy pulses disabled the aliens' landing crafts. Nets and automated snares immobilized several of the creatures, while others were pushed into natural traps hidden among the rocks. The aliens reacted quickly, but every move they made had already been predicted. Humans darted from cover to cover, using the environment, their technology, and teamwork to outmaneuver the larger, stronger opponents. Every shot was calculated. Every step was deliberate. "Push them toward the canyon," Mira ordered. "Don't let them scatter." The squad moved like a single organism. Using minimal force, they forced the aliens into a narrow section of the canyon. The terrain, combined with human tactics, neutralized the aliens' advantage in size and firepower. Commander Arik Kyle, observing from his ship above, could hardly believe what he saw. A handful of humans was controlling the flow of battle. Each alien advance was met with calm, calculated resistance. Each human move seemed to anticipate their enemy's thoughts. "They are extraordinary," Kale said quietly. "Our scanners do not capture their coordination. They are not just fighting, they are thinking 5 steps ahead." Below, Lieutenant Saul led a daring maneuver. One team crept behind enemy lines, disabling power units and communication arrays, while another team feigned retreat, luring the aliens into carefully prepared positions. The aliens, confident in their numerical superiority, fell right into the trap. The humans' final tactic was subtle but devastating. Using small drones and remote devices, they created illusions of larger forces, shadows moving where no humans stood. The aliens hesitated, confused by what they could not see or measure. That hesitation was all Mira needed. Her squad moved in, disabling the remaining alien scouts and forcing a retreat. By nightfall, the canyon was quiet again. The alien ships, damaged and humiliated, lifted off and disappeared into space. They had survived, but the humans had won. Not through brute force, not through numbers, but through strategy, teamwork, and an understanding of unpredictability. Mira watched the last of the ships disappear, her face calm but proud. "This is only the beginning," she said to her squad. "They now know that humans are not just survivors. We are a force to be reckoned with." As news of the engagement spread through alien channels, panic replaced arrogance. Across trading hubs and council chambers, the story of the human special forces reached ears that had once laughed at the tales of human resilience. The aliens had assumed humans were weak. They had been wrong. On Alaron 7, the special forces returned to their base. No one celebrated. This was not a victory party. This was practice for the greater challenges ahead. Mira addressed her squad, her voice firm but inspiring. "Today we showed them what humans are capable of. Tomorrow the galaxy will remember it." But remember this, our strength is not just in weapons. It is in our courage, our mind, and our unity. As long as we hold these, no one can predict us, and no one can defeat us. That night, the stars above Alaron 7 seemed brighter. The humans below were quiet, but every eye was focused on the sky, imagining the countless challenges yet to come. The galaxy had seen a hint of human power, and now fear began to spread. The whisper of humanity had grown louder. No longer stories in the dark. No longer exaggerations. Humans had shown that even a small squad could challenge the might of alien fleets. Somewhere in the galaxy, Commander Kale plotted his next move. The humans had won this encounter, but he knew better than to underestimate them again. Humanity's special forces had made their first mark, and the galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. The story of human courage and ingenuity was just beginning, and for Lieutenant Mirasol and her team, this was only the first battle of many. The galaxy does not forget humiliation easily. When news of the human special forces' victory on Alaron 7 reached the leaders of nearby star systems, fear turned quickly into anger. Aliens who had once dismissed humans now saw them as a growing threat, smart, adaptable, and impossible to predict. A coalition formed, uniting multiple species with one goal: to eliminate the humans before their influence could spread. Far above the frontier planet, a massive fleet assembled in the void of space. Starships of all shapes and sizes glittered against the darkness, energy weapons humming in readiness. Commanders argued over strategy, trying to combine their strengths against what they thought would be a small, isolated group of humans. "Do not underestimate them," said Arik Kale, recalling his last encounter with the humans. "Even a small squad can change the outcome of a battle. They are unpredictable. They are dangerous." Yet many of the alien leaders scoffed. They had numbers, firepower, and experience on their side. "A handful of humans cannot challenge thousands of our soldiers," one replied confidently. "We will crush them quickly." On the ground, Lieutenant Mirasol studied reports of incoming enemy movements. Her team had anticipated retaliation, and they were ready. Humans may be few in number, but they were masters of using their environment, technology, and ingenuity to their advantage. "Listen carefully," Mira told her squad, pointing at a holographic map of the planet. "They think we are small, unprepared, and easy to control. We will prove them wrong. Every trap, every movement, every strike counts. Our job is to turn their strength against them." As the alien fleet descended toward Alaron 7, humans scattered into hidden positions. Drones moved silently among the trees, observing alien patterns and feeding information back to the squad. Mines and energy nets lay in places where no alien could anticipate. Every natural canyon, cliff, and valley had been adapted into part of the battlefield. The first wave of alien soldiers landed near a river valley, their towering forms glinting in the sunlight. They advanced confidently, expecting little resistance. But as soon as they entered the valley, humans struck. Energy pulses disabled several armored walkers. Nets and snares trapped many others, causing confusion and delay. Mira led a squad through a hidden canyon pass, ambushing the alien reinforcements. Every human movement was precise, calculated, and relentless. The aliens, trained for direct combat, were ill-prepared for the humans' indirect tactics. "They are too coordinated," one alien soldier muttered. "They are not attacking blindly. They know what we will do next." Using communication jammers, the humans cut off the aliens' coordination. Then, using terrain as cover, they struck from unexpected angles. The aliens could not regroup, could not predict human movements, and every attempt to gain control failed. Above, Commander Kyle watched as humans, fewer in number, outmaneuvered much larger forces. "They are turning our strengths against us," he said, disbelief in his voice. "They are teaching us a lesson we did not expect." The aliens launched heavier attacks, bringing in war machines and orbital bombardments. Yet humans were prepared. Shelters reinforced with advanced materials, decoy installations, and rapid evacuation routes minimized damage. Special forces squads moved with speed, striking at weak points, then vanishing before the aliens could respond. In one daring operation, Mira's squad infiltrated an alien command post. Using stealth technology, they bypassed guards, disabled energy shields, and disrupted communications. Without coordination, the alien soldiers began to retreat and hesitate. Panic spread among the ranks. "We cannot hold them," a high-ranking alien shouted. "They are too clever. Every move we make is countered. By nightfall, the aliens were forced to withdraw. Many had been injured or trapped, and their morale was shattered. Humans had proven that intelligence, courage, and adaptability could defeat brute strength and overwhelming numbers. Mira and her squad regrouped, exhausted but triumphant. "This is what I wanted," she said quietly. They now know that humans are not only tough, they are smart. And smart is harder to fight than strong. Back in the alien fleet, commanders held urgent meetings. They realized that sheer numbers and technology would not be enough to defeat humans. They had underestimated a species that combined creativity, courage, and unity. The galaxy's perception of humanity was changing. Humans were no longer a curiosity. They were a threat. For the humans of Alaron 7, it was another day of defending their home and their people. But in truth, it was more than that. Each battle, each victory, reinforced the idea that humans were capable of shaping the galaxy's future. It was not brute force alone that made them powerful. It was their mind, their courage, and their ability to act as one. As Mira gazed at the stars that night, she knew the challenges ahead would only grow. The aliens would return, more prepared, more determined, and more dangerous. But she also knew something they did not fully understand. Humans are not just warriors. Humans are thinkers, adapters, and survivors, and as long as they held to these strengths, no force in the galaxy could predict what they might do next. The galaxy had been warned. The humans of Alaron 7 were not just a story, they were a force, and the ripple of their actions was already spreading, quietly but powerfully through the stars. The galaxy's leaders had reached a decision. Humanity could no longer be ignored. Reports from Alaron 7 had spread far and wide, and fear had turned to desperation. A massive coalition fleet, composed of thousands of ships from multiple species, was assembled. Their goal: eliminate the human special forces and secure the frontier once and for all. Lieutenant Mira Sol watched the incoming signals from her base. Her team analyzed every detail of the approaching fleet: ship formations, energy output, landing zones, and troop numbers. The aliens believed their overwhelming strength would crush the humans. They assumed strategy and adaptability were no match for sheer numbers. They were wrong. Mira gathered her squad. "They think they can overwhelm us with their numbers," she said, her tone calm but firm. "But we don't need to outnumber them. We need to outthink them. We will use every canyon, every forest, and every trick they don't expect. This is our strength." The humans moved into their positions. Automated drones flew silently overhead, mapping enemy movements. Hidden turrets were placed in strategic locations. Energy nets, decoys, and traps were scattered across the landing zones. The terrain itself became a weapon in human hands. The first wave of alien ships entered the atmosphere. Massive war machines and heavily armed troops poured onto the ground. They advanced confidently, expecting minimal resistance. Instead, they encountered silence, shadows, and sudden strikes. Small squads of humans darted through the forests, hitting weak points, sabotaging supplies, and confusing the aliens with unexpected maneuvers. One moment the humans were here, the next moment they had vanished into hidden tunnels or behind hills. Mira's team split into several units. One group infiltrated the alien command center hidden within the fleet. Using stealth and speed, they disabled communications, leaving the alien soldiers disoriented. Another group activated decoy installations, making the aliens believe the human forces were larger than they were. Confusion spread quickly among the enemy ranks. Above the battlefield, Commander Arik Kyle observed the chaos with disbelief. "How is a handful of humans controlling the entire fight?" he muttered. "They anticipate our every move. They turn our own strengths against us." The humans struck again, carefully exploiting the enemy's hesitation. Automated drones released energy pulses to disable war machines, while human squads guided retreating aliens into narrow valleys and trap zones. The terrain amplified the humans' tactical advantage, forcing the alien soldiers into vulnerable positions. Mira led her team on a daring mission to capture one of the alien flagship's control centers. They navigated through corridors of unfamiliar technology, avoided patrols, and used human ingenuity to bypass security systems. Within minutes, they seized control of critical systems, redirecting energy and causing confusion among the fleet. As night fell on the battlefield, the humans regrouped, having inflicted massive disarray on the alien forces. The coalition fleet, though vast and powerful, struggled to coordinate under constant human interference. Ships clashed, communication lines failed, and alien soldiers were trapped or forced into retreating positions. Mira surveyed the battlefield from a ridge overlooking the chaos. Her team had minimized casualties, disrupted the enemy, and forced them into mistakes. "This is what happens when you underestimate humans," she said quietly. "We are not just fighters, we are thinkers, planners, and adapters. Today, the galaxy will see that clearly." Across the coalition, alien commanders realized the truth. Brute force alone could not defeat humans. The species that had once been dismissed as small and weak had shown extraordinary strategy, courage, and adaptability. Every plan they had made was countered, every assumption proven wrong. The aliens, demoralized and disoriented, began to withdraw. Their ships lifted off, retreating into the darkness of space. Many had been damaged. Many more had lost confidence. Humanity's special forces had achieved what seemed impossible, turning overwhelming enemy numbers into a demonstration of human ingenuity and skill. Back at the human base, Mira addressed her squad. "Remember this day," she said. "We were outnumbered. We were expected to fail, but we turned the tide with our minds, our courage, and our unity. Every one of you showed the galaxy what humans are capable of. This victory is more than a battle, it is a statement." The humans of Alaron 7 watched the stars in silence. They knew this was not the end. Other forces would rise, other challenges would come. But for the first time, the galaxy had seen humanity as a real power. Clever, unpredictable, and unstoppable when united. Lieutenant Mira Sol felt a quiet pride as she looked up at the night sky. The Special Forces had changed the course of history today. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. Every alien commander, every fleet, and every species would remember this day. The day a handful of humans turned an entire coalition to retreat. And so, the tide had turned. The humans were no longer just survivors or legends, they were a force. A force that combined courage, intelligence, and unpredictability in a way that no species had ever experienced. The story of humanity's special forces was spreading, and across the stars the whispers had grown into a warning. Underestimate humans, and you will pay the price. The alien coalition had retreated, but the galaxy was far from calm. Word of the humans' victory on Alaron 7 spread like wildfire through trade routes, space stations, and council chambers. No species could ignore the truth any longer. Humans were clever, courageous, and unpredictable. They were no longer a curiosity. They were a force. Lieutenant Mira Sol watched the stars from the ridge near the human base. Her team had been through countless drills, missions, and battles, but nothing compared to the scale of this victory. Yet she knew the galaxy had not fully understood humans' potential. Their challenge had only begun. "Reports from other systems are coming in," said Sergeant Dax, one of Mira's trusted squad members. "They're talking about us. They're afraid." And curious, Mira nodded. "Good, let them be afraid. Let them know humans do not fight like anyone else. Every victory is a message. We are strong, but we are also smart. We do not just survive, we adapt and overcome." Across the galaxy, alien leaders convened emergency councils. They analyzed the human special forces' tactics, technologies, and psychology. They realized that their fleets, their numbers, and their advanced weapons could be countered, not through luck, but through strategy, creativity, and unity. Humans had rewritten the rules of engagement. Meanwhile, on Alaron 7, the Special Forces began preparing for the next challenge. Humans did not rest after one victory. They trained, studied, and improved, ready for whatever came next. Their courage was matched only by their ingenuity, and together these qualities made them nearly impossible to predict. In the outer sectors, small alien ships attempted to test human defenses. Each time the Special Forces responded with precision. They outsmarted ambushes, neutralized traps, and used the environment to their advantage. Every encounter reinforced the growing legend of human skill and resilience. Mira led a training session with her squad, emphasizing strategy over brute force. "We are not just soldiers," she told them. "We are planners, observers, and problem solvers. The galaxy expects us to be strong. We must show them that strength is only part of what makes us dangerous." Back in the Galactic Council, Commander Arik Kale reported to leaders of various species. "The humans are not a threat to attack," he said carefully. "They are a threat to ignore. We underestimated them before, and we cannot do so again. They are capable of more than brute force. Their adaptability and intelligence make them unpredictable, and that is what makes them formidable. As days turned into weeks, humans became ambassadors of strength across the frontier. Their special forces were not just fighters, they were symbols of human spirit. Colonies saw them as protectors, allies, and role models. The galaxy slowly adjusted to a new reality. Humans were no longer to be underestimated. One evening, Mira stood on the cliff's edge, gazing at a distant nebula that glowed like fire across the stars. Her squad gathered quietly around her, tired but resolute. "We have changed the galaxy," she said softly. "Not by fear, but by showing what humans can do when we work together. Courage, unity, and intelligence, these are our true weapons. The galaxy will remember that." Her team nodded in agreement. Each member knew that the battles they had fought were only the beginning. They were now part of a story far larger than themselves, a story that would inspire future generations of humans and shape relations between species for decades to come. As night fell, the first stars of distant systems appeared. The whispers of humanity had grown into a chorus. Aliens who once laughed at human tales now told them with respect, awe, and caution. Across the stars, humans had left an imprint on the galaxy that could not be erased. Mira felt a quiet sense of pride. The humans of Alaron 7 had faced impossible odds, and they had not only survived, they had changed the course of history. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans were not predictable, they were not weak, and they were not alone. The story of humanity's special forces was more than a battle. It was a statement. Across star systems, across species, and across cultures, the message was clear. Underestimate humans at your own peril. Courage, intelligence, and unity made them special, and the galaxy would never forget it. In the quiet of the night, Mirasol looked toward the stars and imagined the worlds yet to explore, the challenges yet to face, and the stories yet to write. Humanity had proven its place among the stars, and the galaxy, once indifferent, now watched humans with respect, caution, and curiosity. The galaxy had been reminded that humans were not just survivors. Humans were creators, thinkers, warriors, and leaders. They were a force that would continue to shape the stars, one clever, courageous action at a time. And so, the galaxy was remade, not by conquest, but by the spirit of a species that refused to be underestimated. Humanity's special forces had shown the galaxy who humans truly were. The stars above Alaron 7 shone brighter that night, as if celebrating the rise of a force that would never be ignored.